You're broken down and tired. A little life, merry-go-round, and you can find love. You, so we gon' walk it out. Walk it out. Silence is quiet, and it feels like free.
extremely important for you all to be proactive and do some planning and really execute that research process that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. So I hope you took good notes about the research process and being able to complete those steps in order, because you're going to use them over the next couple of weeks to prepare for this next major assignment. All right, let me go through the roll real quick and see who all's here, and then we'll get started. Again, we'll talk about essay number 2 in here in a few minutes. Mr. Ammon?
Present.
All right. Miss Baldwin, I see you there. Hello. Miss Bernard?
I'm here.
Awesome. Miss Black?
I'm here.
Okay. Miss Cisneros, I see you. Hello. Miss Irk?
I'm here.
Awesome. Mr. Marcelino, I see you there. How are you doing?
Sir. Hello there, Mr.
You doing okay tonight?
Yes, sir. I'm doing okay tonight.
Okay.
I was
Good.
just getting busy with my literacy narrative essay, sir.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Miss Floro? Miss Floro may be on, yeah, that's right. Miss Floro is one of the ones that said she was going to be here late. Miss Gonzalez also said she was going to be here late. Miss Samantha Gonzalez?
I'm here.
Awesome. Welcome. Miss Ashlyn Hill?
I'm here. Sorry, I couldn't unmute.
Okay. I was about to say there for a second. Where's Miss Ashlyn Hill? Miss Courtney Hill?
I'm here.
Awesome. Miss Holland? No Miss Holland. Okay. Miss Hun?
I'm here.
All right. Miss Lay?
I'm here. I'm here.
Ah, okay, there you are. Okay, I couldn't hear you there for a second. That's okay. That's all right. Yeah, I see you showed up in the, okay. Let me bring it, make sure this is maximized here so I can see everybody. Okay, Miss Logan. All right, no Miss Logan. Miss Marinan. Nope, don't see Miss Marinan. Miss Pygott.
I'm here.
Awesome. Mr. Schaefer. No, Mr. Schaefer. Okay, Mr. Topple.
Here.
Awesome. And Mr. Zamorski.
I'm here.
Good deal. Mr. Murphy. I might get cut out on a call. I'm lagging back. Okay, Mr. Murphy. I understand what your technical issues are. No problem, sir. Just as a general reminder, for those of you who are having problems with the internet connections, if you do get kicked out because of a poor connection, no worries. Just do your best to try to log back in. But if you're not able to connect back, again, I'm going to post the video from this class on YouTube. Now, I've been trying to get the one from last week to work here, but I'm having some internet issues myself, so I'm planning on going to the college tomorrow to piggyback off of their broadband access over there to upload last week's video to YouTube and link it to the Blackboard, and I'll also do the same thing for tonight's video as well. All right, so let me bring up the screen here. Kill my Bob Marley. Hopefully you all enjoyed the Bob Marley. Like I said, that's my favorite singer of all.
Why, yes, sir. We did enjoy the Bob Marley.
Good. Bob Marley makes everything better, let me tell you. You got a world that's going crazy. You just throw the Bob Marley tunes on and everything irie. All right. Get the Blackboard logged in here. I already had it logged in, but it's been kicking me out. I have had a lot of issues with Blackboard these past couple of weeks. Ever since the storm, it's been absolutely crazy. All right. Fall semester, English Comp 1. Student preview. All right, let me bring this up here, share my screen. Go. Everybody's off to the side, looking good tonight. All right. So let me scroll down here to essay number 2. And again, this is the literacy narrative, right? That is due on Sunday. Pull this over to the side so I can read it. Download this file. And again, I've had a lot of questions, especially from the night classes, the physical classes, about this essay. So I want to take a few moments here to go back over it again and to kind of help you out a little bit for those of you who do have a topic. There's a lot of confusion on how you are meant to structure a literacy narrative. Again, there's many different methods, but I'm going to draw one up here on the screen for you to kind of walk you through it again and give you an idea of what I'm looking for. Now, however, you do not have to follow the pattern that I'm going to show here on the screen, okay? You are free to write it any way you wish, and as long as it has a combination of a story and some information. How you structure that is totally up to you, but I will show you one example that has helped quite a few students out over the past couple of weeks when I walked through the outline. I think I walked through this last week. I'm not sure. I've got to start creating a journal for all these 6 classes that I'm teaching, but if I have, I apologize for repeating myself, but considering the scope of the project, it's probably not a bad thing. All right, so did somebody have a question? I thought I saw a hand raised here real quick.
Oh, it was me. I was the one who raised my hand, kind sir.
Okay,
I
you have a question?
about on that textbook for English Composition 1, I read 2 of the chapters. Chapter 10 for writing a literacy narrative, which was on pages from 75 to 97, and chapter 61, literacy narratives from pages 687 to 713.
Okay. Yeah.
Still working on it today, but I promise not to forget to send it to you tomorrow.
Okay, that's no problem. That's no problem at all. And as you, in addition to Mr. Marcelino here, I'm sure a lot of other people have gone through these chapters and kind of looked at some examples. There's various kinds, okay? There's different methods which you can set the topic up and kind of do a balancing act between a story and the informative section. So I'm just going to show you a general guideline of how I think it would be easy to set this up for you all here in 101. So let me bring up my whiteboard here real quick. That way I can draw on the screen, and you can, like I said, you can take some notes, or you can wait for the video if you wish when it's uploaded to YouTube. All right, so I'm just going to bring up the whiteboard here. Let me get this out of the way. Man, I need 2 screens. That's the problem. I need 2 screens to do this. Having just not enough real estate on this laptop. All right. So for a literacy narrative, again, just to reiterate what we've discussed over the past couple of weeks, a literacy narrative in its basic form is basically an essay in which you are going to write about a topic. And in order to really relate to the reader, again, most people I know enjoy listening to a good story. more so than not. And even more so, if you're able to read a good story when you're trying to learn about a topic, that it makes it even more relatable, makes it more believable. And in this exercise, what you're wanting to do is to select the topic. Okay, select a topic that you wish to write about. Now, again, this assignment is related somewhat to essay number 1. Okay, in the following, in that it is a personal essay, um, personal in the fact that you are writing an essay about a topic, sharing your thoughts and opinions and beliefs about that topic to a reader. In essay number 1, I asked you to list all the reasons why you enjoyed a certain activity or a particular topic. And personally, you were analyzing that topic and looking at all the things that you enjoyed about it, and basically coming up with a list of all the things that you enjoyed about that topic and why you think your readers would enjoy looking at that topic or that activity as well. This literacy narrative is playing on that same style, in that it is personal in nature. Okay, and it's one that you're writing about a specific topic that is personal to you. However, the difference is you're going to structure the essay differently in order to entice the reader and to stay engaged with the essay. You're going to lead off with a narrative to kind of set the stage for why a reader should continue on reading your essay. Again, for those of you who play football, I think I use a lot of sports analogies in here. So remember, when you're writing an essay, it's extremely important to grab that reader's attention, almost like a head coach is grabbing the face mask of a player who just made a mistake on the field and is just, kind of frustrated with himself. So the coach uses that moment as a teaching tool, grabbing by the face mask and holding on for dear life in order to relay a certain message to that player, what you need to do to get better. This hook and narrative inside of this essay is very, very similar. Okay, so the more entertaining the narrative is, the more likely you are to grab the reader by the face mask, metaphorically speaking, and holding that attention for as long as you can, hopefully through the duration of the essay. Okay, so again, if I were writing this essay, of course, again, the first step is to select the topic. But if I were a student in your class and I was going to write about a specific topic that was important to me outside of sports, I'm not going to use another sports analogy here. Again, I'm going to think about a topic and think about a narrative, a story that can really gain my reader's attention and hold on to it, right? So in having said all that, I'm going to choose an example topic here of the iPhone. Okay, I am an Apple guy. I own all kinds of Apple products. I own some Android products too, but by far the Apple products tend to be more. It's a lot easier to use for me. They hold their value, so I tend to be an Apple guy. And I was one of the ones down here when I was working at Eglin. I was one of the first ones to get an iPhone back in 2007. And I remember standing in line for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours back in 2007, waiting because I had pre-ordered one, and I was waiting to get my hands on this brand new smartphone that Apple had put out. And I remember, after that wait time, finally getting through the line and standing there, and I had to wait another 30, 45 minutes for them to actually activate the phone and set up the cell phone plan and for me to walk out with it. I remember getting back to the house and playing with the phone and commenting, wow, this thing is so much slower than my iPod. And that was frustrating, because I remember you know, just the anticipation of waiting for this iPod that had the ability to make phone calls and it could check email and surf the internet all on one device. And I remember just kind of being a little disappointed, like, wow, this thing is so much slower than my iPod. So I ended up using the iPhone just to make calls. And then I went back to my iPod to listen to music. So that's an example of you know, me selecting a topic that's really personal to me the first time I purchased an iPhone and my experience with it, and then sitting here with the narrative portion, right? So I'm going to, as for my narrative, tell the story about my first iPhone purchase in 2007. Right? Standing in line at Best Buy, then buying the phone, and then being disappointed in its performance. Okay, so that's just, you know, just kind of outlining what the narrative is. Okay, so again, for the scope of this project, and this is again, this is an assignment that's similar in length to essay number 1, looking at somewhere around 650 words. Okay, 650 words total. So my narrative, what I would want to do in this situation is, once I've got my topic and I've got the narrative that I want to tell the story to, I'd go ahead and put out here onto the side, I'm going to use about 350 words in order to, you know, document my story, go ahead and get it down on paper and keep it in somewhere in that range of 300 and 350 words to kind of entertain my reader. And if you've got some funny comedic details that you can share within that narrative, that makes it even more relatable, because people love to not only hear a good story, but they love a funny story. So if there's something that's humorous in there, make sure that you include that in the narrative to really ensure that you gain the attention of your reader and keep it. Now, the literacy narrative is also informative, right? It's also informative in scope. So this is where I would transition from the narrative, and I would analyze, okay, now that I've selected my topic and I've told my story, what do I really want to say about the topic and educate my reader at the same time as I've just gotten through entertaining the reader. Now I want to educate the reader about the topic. So now what am I going to do? Well, thinking about looking at this iPhone, I would probably write about 2 things in here. The performance and cost of an iPhone, a 2007 version of an iPhone. Talk about my experience with it, things that I liked and disliked. And then I would probably compare and contrast that experience back in 2007, compare and contrast the 2007 version of the iPhone with my current model, which is the iPhone 10, which I'm looking forward to trading that in after seeing the Apple presentation this past week. Compare that with the 2018 version of the iPhone. What was its performance like? What was the cost? Okay, performance, cost, customer satisfaction, etc. Okay, so how are you going to do that? Because again, we're talking about the second half of the paper being informative. So again, the narrative is going to educate the reader, entertain the reader. And then the second half of the paper is going to be the informative section. So that's where you're going to educate the reader about the topic to finish up the essay. Okay, and so I would look at that and structure the second section by doing a compare and contrast here. What was the performance and cost and satisfaction that I encountered, and maybe some other people had with the 2007 iPhone when it was released, and then following that up with another paragraph that compared and contrast that experience with the current model, which is the one I have, the 2018 iPhone 10 version. And again, with the compare and contrast, I would also look at performance, cost, customer satisfaction, maybe some other attributes. Now, the other difference that you're going to want to remember between essay number 1 and essay number 2 is this assignment must contain 2 outside sources. Okay, so this is where you're going to have to perform some outside research, or perform some research using the library database. Okay, now this is where you're going to go into the library's database, and you're really going to analyze. Are you going to do some searching in there to find some articles about, preferably, since I've got 2 bullet points here, the 2007 version of the iPhone. I would look at some performance data, some customer satisfaction data, the cost of the phone, what did it require to me to bring, how much money did I have to bring to the table in order to get this iPhone back in 2007? And then again, I would look at another outside source that looked at the same kind of data set for 2018. How much was the iPhone 10 when it was released back in 18? What was its performance? What were some of the specs inside of the machine or the phone that really made it a top quality phone versus the 2007 model? And then look at the customer satisfaction rates there. Okay, so as you can see, I've got little bits of data that I can analyze or search for in the databases in order to analyze and make notes to insert inside of my paper. Okay, so having said all that, taking these notes here, I would create an outline. Number 1, introduce the topic, right? Introduce the topic, which is my experience being an iPhone user, however I would want to write that. It really, you can make it anything you want at that point. So after the introduction, then as you can see, I'm going to lead in with my narrative, okay? And I may take a couple of paragraphs here, narrative part 1, narrative part 2, and split it up. So I can really, share with my reader what the details of the story are, my experience first time purchasing an iPhone smartphone, okay? Again, if you want to tell this story, if you have a shorter story, you want to tell it over 1 paragraph, that's fine. Again, this is personal to you, and how you structure the narrative and how much you share with the reader is entirely up to you, okay? This is just how I would do it. So after that, again, the narrative is the entertainment part, right? That's what's going to hook the reader into your essay and really grab that attention and hopefully keep it if you tell a good enough story. Now, do that, they'll move on to the informative part, which is the educational part. And this is how I would structure it. I would look at the first section of the informative aspect of this essay. I would look at the 2007 iPhone, and I would bring in some information about cost, performance, and customer satisfaction. And again, this is going to be empirical data that I'm going to present to my reader in order to fully explain the topic in this informative section. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the next section or the next paragraph. I'm going to compare and contrast that with the iPhone 2018 model, looking at the same data parameters: cost, performance, and customer satisfaction. Right there. Satisfaction. I can't type tonight. And then, of course, I'm going to finalize it with a great conclusion, okay? To kind of just wrap up, why did I tell you the story, give you a reason why I'm telling this story, and how the story is connected to the informative section of this paper. And again, you know, I've got written up here 300 to 350 words for the narrative. I'm probably going to use the same amount roughly for the informative section too, just to kind of make sure that I give equal weight to each part of this literacy narrative. Okay. Now, again, this is how I would structure it in order to introduce the topic, entertain the reader, just to kind of soften them up a little bit, engage with them, make it a little more personal. And then that final section, I would lead right in with the information that I really want to share with my readers about the topic at hand. And again, it's going to be a mix of personal observations and also 2 outside sources that's going to bring some empirical data into each of these informative sections. And what I mean by that is empirical data about the cost, empirical data about the performance, and empirical data about the customer satisfaction, not only for the 2007 model, but also for the 2018 model. And by the time I finish that up and write a nice little conclusion here, I've got a nice 650 word, maybe 700 word literacy narrative that's ready for review. Okay. So again, I want to save this right here and make sure that it's posted. That way we can, I can share it with you all in Blackboard to kind of give you an idea of what a mock version of this would be. If I were writing this literacy narrative in the class with you all, this is how I would structure it. Now, again, it's really up to you and your writing style, how you divvy up the parts between the narrative and the informative section of the literacy narrative. Okay. If you want to do a leapfrog back and forth kind of thing, where you lead off with a narrative, give a little bit of information, and then pick back up with the story halfway through the essay again, and then wrap that up with another informative section, you're free to do that as well, just as long as you give some equal weight to a story and the informative section of the essay. I don't think you can go wrong with any approach. Okay, but that's basically what we're going to do in this class. Again, there are literally thousands of different types of literacy narratives. Just for the scope of this class, in order to introduce this style of writing to you and to make it, you know, at a basic level, this is how I would structure it, just so I could accomplish the goals for this type of assignment. Again, if you want to try something a little more complex, where you do a leapfrog approach, bouncing back and forth between the narrative and the informative, that's totally up to you. However you want to structure it, just make sure you tend to give equal weight between the entertainment, which is the narrative, and then the educational part, which is the informative. Okay, just try to give equal weight between those two. And again, your paper must have 2 outside sources. Okay, 2 outside sources. Again, I encourage you all to use the library database in order to find information about the topic of your choosing, in order to, to research and use some information in your paper. Now, depending on your topic, you may or may not find that many sources in the database. Of course, you can use Google and the open web to do some additional searches and research on the open web to help you do that, to find the sources needed for your paper. But at least give it a try in the library section. The reason why I'm encouraging you all to do that is because any sources that you pull from the library database. 99.99% of the time is going to be academically credible. There's not going to be an issue or a question about the academic validity and integrity of that source to be used as information in your paper. Okay, the same cannot be said of open web sources, depending on where you get it from and depending on who wrote the document or composed the research. There could be some validity and integrity issues there, even though it's obtained from what we would consider a reliable source. Okay, for an academic setting, it is preferable that you use the library database. Okay, let me kill this right here. Now, I'm going to pause at this point for any questions that you all may have about the literacy narrative. I want to make sure that everybody understands what the goal and objective for this assignment is, what we're trying to accomplish, and if you have any questions or concerns or misunderstandings, please go ahead and let me know that right now, and we can share it with the rest of the class and make sure that everybody benefits from the receiving an answer to your question. You're kidding me. There are no questions about the literacy narrative. It's that easy? Miss
Yeah, I'm
Cisneros,
pretty confident.
really? Miss Cisneros is over there like, man, I got this. What's wrong with you? Okay. All right. Does anybody need to see a demonstration of how to use the library site again? No?
Yes.
Who needs that?
I do.
Okay. Okay. I can show you that real quick. No, not a problem. And I'll even use this example that I created tonight in this little outline. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'll use a better one than that. I'll use something from my academic background, which is comparative mythology. Go to the library site here. Let me share my screen. And again, this is all being recorded, so I'll provide the video tomorrow so that you can walk through the process through your own leisure and perform the steps with me in this video. Again, in order to get to the database, the library database, you have to drill down through several menus to get there. I don't know why they do that. Drives me crazy. But in order to navigate to the library's website, you'll hover over student resources, scroll down to campus resources, and then in that submenu, scroll all the way down and click Susan Myers Learning Resources Center. That is the library. That's a huge name for what we used to call the library. Click that. Now, once you do that, what my recommendation is, go ahead and bookmark this page. That way you do not have to go through that, drill down through that menu again. Bookmark this page. That way you can have it, a quick reference to it. And again, you won't have to go through all that drilling down anymore. Okay, so from here, we're going to select this under student assistance right here. We're going to click this second link, which is articles and streaming videos, which is the databases. And we're going to search for news articles, journal articles, books, reports, academic research, etc. Everything that you could perform research about should be located in here. Now, again, there is a ton of databases. For those of you who have played around with this, there are well over 100 databases. Some other sites, there's probably over 1,000 different databases. And this is where a lot of people get confused and they get overwhelmed because they see all these databases and they're like, oh my God, which one am I supposed to use? Well, again, this is just an alphabetical list of all of the databases that are available. I highly recommend that you all skip this portion and go directly to the subject. Okay. Click the button up here at the top that says subject. Now, when you do that, you're going to come up with a list of disciplines, list of, a lot of times these are going to mimic what schools that you would probably enroll in at a university. Okay. But every subject level that you can study and find information on is listed here on the screen. Okay. So let's pretend for a moment that I'm going to write a literacy narrative, and I'm not going to pick the iPhone this time because I'm bored with that topic. Let's say I'm going to write a paper on a topic about my absolute favorite goddess in comparative mythology. Okay. Now, when I say comparative mythology, I'm not just talking about Greek. I'm talking about Roman, Celtic, Chinese, Native American. I mean, I've studied Norse. I've studied them all. So when we're looking at comparative mythology, we're looking at a cross-cultural spectrum here. We're talking about ancient stories about mythological creatures and characters. But my favorite goddess happens to be the goddess Athena because well, quite frankly, she was the anti-Aphrodite. She was a strong, beautiful female character who didn't take crap off of anybody. And honestly, she was one of the most intellectual mythological characters that you can look at in a cross spectrum across comparative mythology. So I'm going to perform some research here for you now using this database on the goddess Athena. So, of course, being a mythological type of assignment, I'm going to click this link right here that says literature. And I'm going to expand upon that subject. Now, again, on the other page, you saw there was a huge list of databases that could absolutely overwhelm you. Looking through and sorting the databases by subject allows you to select specific databases that are tuned with their algorithm specifically for that subject matter. So in this case, I've got a list of databases here that they all have an algorithm that are optimized for performing research in the area of literature. Okay. So again, you can through trial and error, click through each one of these and learn how their system, each one of them are unique. They give you different types of results, much like Google versus Bing versus Yahoo versus whatever other search engines are out there, DuckDuckGo, whatnot. Okay, each one of those search engines give you a different type of result set, right? Well, same thing with this list of databases here. They're all going to be unique in how they present those research results to you. Okay. Now, I already know that one of my favorite databases here is the Artemis database. Coincidentally, who happens to be another wonderful Greek goddess. I'm going to use this database called Artemis Literary Sources to find a couple of sources out there on Athena that I want to write about her for this assignment. Okay, so I'm going to click this database. Now, utilizing these databases is very similar to using Google or Bing. Again, it just depends on the type of search that you're performing. But there are some little filters in here that you're going to want to make sure is possibly enabled in order to refine your search results. Okay. But
Mr.
again, up here, yes, sir.
What did you click once you got into library to get to that
Okay.
page that you were talking about?
Let me go back here. So once you get into the library, can you see my screen right now?
Yes, I do. How do you get to that page?
Okay, so how do you get to that page? Oh, you have to log in. All right.
Oh,
So
okay.
I had to log in using my student number. Well, actually, it's my faculty number because I'm not a student. But anyway, it's your student number and the password or PIN code. If you've never logged in before, it's going to be 4 digits. The first 2 digits is going to be the month of your birthday, and the second 2 digits is going to be the day of your birthday. All right. So the first time I logged in, my birthday is the 5th of September. So the first time I logged in, my PIN was 0905.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. So yeah, once you're able to log in, you should come to this landing page here. And again, my recommendation is once you're in there, you click the subject button, select your category. And in this case, in this example that I'm providing to you, it's a literature-based topic. So I'm going to use the very first database that I see in there, which is the Artemis database. Okay. Now I'm going to click that again. All right. So again, this is going to bring up the search engine page. Now, up here at the top, I'm going to go ahead and type in my keyword. Now, this is one of the beautiful things about the Artemis database. Now, I can't guarantee all of them work this way, but if you're ever performing some kind of research on any literary topics, highly recommend you use the Artemis database, because what it's going to do is going to do some filtering in the background and analyzing your keyword search. It's going to recommend some things to help you really zero in on the topic you're looking for. So in this case, I'm looking up information on Athena. So as you can see, just like Google, as soon as you start typing in a keyword, it's going to come up with a recommendation, list of recommendations here. Hey, do you want to look up this specific keyword or that? In this case, it's giving me an option for Athena, the mythological character, versus Athena, the novel. Okay, so of course I want to research about the mythological character, so I'm going to click that and allow that to be populated into the advanced search box there. Okay, so once you have your keyword defined, the next thing you want to do is make sure that this full text documents option down here is checked. Again, depending on the database that you're using, sometimes this box is checked, sometimes it's not. All right. If that box is not checked and you hit the search button, you're going to end up with possibly 1 million results that are absolutely useless, because this database is also allowed to categorize and store dissertations and thesis papers that have been written by graduates. And a lot of them contain abstracts, and those abstracts are also archived. And you do not want those abstracts to be included in your search results, because the abstracts can't be used on their own as evidence as an outside source. Okay, only the paper to which that abstract is attached can be used. So make sure that you use the full text documents link here. Okay, make sure that that's checked. Once you do, just click the search button. Now, this is where it's going to get this is so easy. I wish I had this tool when I was in undergraduate school and graduate school. We did not have this. Actually, I had to go to the library and do hard research. It took hours and weeks and days and sometimes months to acquire enough information to be used in my papers. Here, it's so easy because everything that's available in a library, especially in the electronic version of the electronic storage of the library, everything is readily available at your fingertips right here. Okay, so again, depending on the topic, I'm going to get a bunch of search results here. And as one of my students asked me the other night, I'm going to go ahead and address this subject because I know it's going to come up. One of my students asked me the other night, well, Mr. Davis, once I get to this page, am I supposed to click through every link and read them? And I just stopped for a second and I'm like, you're serious, right? And she was like, yeah, do I have to read them? Yes, you have to read them. Just getting the search result here and a little description that's not going to be enough to include in your paper. Okay. If you find a source here, and this is what I recommend, and then, you know, I was teasing her a little bit, but yeah, what I would recommend you do, instead of immediately clicking the links, look through the descriptions right here listed under the search title and link and the author information, etc. Just look at this description here. A lot of times these descriptions can give you enough information to help you identify whether or not that source is going to be a good one for your paper, or if it has nothing to do with your topic. Okay. So definitely take advantage of these little descriptions here, because they can help you save some time to immediately discard sources that are not applicable to your topic. Okay. Not every one of these are going to be applicable. Sometimes the database makes bad recommendations. Okay. But yes, that's why I advised to her, if you find a source that you want to use here, you're going to have to read through it. You're going to have to analyze it. You're going to have to pull information out of that source, understand it, digest it, and then use it in your paper. Okay. So yeah, the only way you can do that is to read it. All right. It's not enough just to find the source and copy it onto the works cited page. All right. So let's pretend for a second. All right, I've got a link right here that I know, because I've read all of his work, Hesiod. I know his work has information that would help me write a paper on the goddess Athena. So, of course, I'm going to use this paper, this academic paper written on Hesiod. I'm going to click this link, and I'm going to peruse through this. So as you can see, once you click the link, here's the actual text. This is why it's important to make sure full text is checked. Okay. That discards all of the stuff that's, links to documents that are not there. This one ensures that you have the full text of the document that the link is referencing. Okay. So first thing you want to do with this right up here, I know for a fact after reading through this source, yes, it has information that I want to reference and highlight and paraphrase and use in my paper. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to download it, because I want an electronic copy on my computer. All of these PDFs are free, public domain. You're allowed to download as many of them as you want to create your own library on your computer if you wish. Okay. I don't recommend you do that, because you're just reinventing the wheel here, but at least download the sources that you're wanting to use for your paper. And again, you've got the full text here. You read through it, you highlight sections that you want to use in your paper. This has a wonderful highlight feature here. You can highlight information that you want to use, make some notes, paraphrase it, throw it into your paper. Okay. Now, the other thing that you're going to want to do is, again, if I want to use this paper, you're going to want to click this cite button. Okay. This is extremely important. Remember, the last page of your paper has to be a works cited page. Y'all remember seeing that in the many examples that I've given through Zoom? And I've even provided on the Blackboard. Your essay must have a works cited. The last page must have a bibliography called works cited. Okay. Now, in this case, I know I want to use this source, so I click the cite button. I'm going to copy and paste this link, because I know I'm going to use information out of the source. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this into my Word document. And I don't think it's going to allow me to share the screen here so you can see it. But you're going to copy, you understand the process. You're going to copy this link into the last page of your essay document and make sure that it's formatted correctly, which it should be as it's listed right here. Copy and paste it in that works cited page, and bam, you don't have to worry about looking anything up in an MLA guide, because the source is cited correctly and formatted right there for you. All you got to do is copy and paste it into your document. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, Ms. Baldwin, since you want to ask a question, did I answer and fully explain everything that you need to know as far as using this wonderful resource?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All right. Does anybody else have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Who is that?
Brooklyn.
Okay, Miss Bernard. Yes, ma'am.
So whenever we try to log in into like the library database, because I'm on my laptop right now, and it says borrower ID. Do you know what that would be?
That is your student ID number.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And then you said the PIN was our birthday.
yes, ma'am. So that's a 4-digit PIN.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the first 2 digits are going to be the month of your birthday, and the last 2 digits are going to be the day of your birthday. So again,
Okay.
that's 0905 for September the 5th.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else? Okay. No one else has any questions. Again, let me stop sharing my screen here. I want to see all of your faces. Between now and Sunday, I want to extend the invitation. If you run into issues finding sources, if you run into issues finding enough information in the sources, if you run into issues synthesizing that information into your paper, into the informative section of your paper, email me. Okay? Email me, please. Because essay number 1 and essay number 2 are demonstrations. Okay? That's why the points are so low. They are stepping stones and practice to show most of you who've never written academic papers before the process of migrating from a personal essay into an academic formal paper, which is one that's using outside sources to back up your personal opinions. Okay. So I want to make sure that this essay is extremely effective in teaching you these principles on how to do it. So I want to extend the invitation. If you guys are having issues understanding the principles of analyzing sources, taking notes, evaluating them, and then integrating them and synthesizing them into your paper, please email me and I will make myself available between now and Sunday to help you online. Okay. All right. Now, at this moment, I would take a break, but my goal is to let you out early tonight in order to continue working on your papers tonight. So again, I highly recommend to each one of you, if you once we get off the Zoom meeting tonight, use the rest of the time to look at your research, look at your paper, work on the rough draft, allow someone to proof it, make some changes, and go ahead and get that thing knocked out early if you need to. There's no sense in ruining your weekend if you're able to get it knocked out now. So, and again, if you need me to look at it to make sure that the MLA is formatted correctly, I am at your disposal. That's my job. I'm here to help you. Okay. So make the most of that opportunity. All right. If there are no further questions on essay number 2, before we get off before I log off tonight, I want to go over essay number 3 and go ahead and prepare for that assignment. Okay. Because there's a lot of explanation that's necessary. Make sure that you all are aware of the requirements. Okay. Because that's the first big boy. You got 2 big boys coming down the pipe. Essay number 3 and essay number 4. That's where you're really going to shine after learning the principles in essay number 1 and 2. And everything you're learning in essay number 3 and 4 is going to greatly help you in 102. Okay. Immensely. All right. We go back to my And I hope you take me for 102, because I guarantee you take me for 102, you're going to have a lot of fun in there. A lot of fun, because we look at all kinds of writing, and hopefully I can reintegrate some of my mythological lectures and look at some mythological stories in the context of 102 as well. All right, bring up the content screen. Somebody got a question?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you gonna have a Zoom class for English Camp 2?
I have signed up and made myself available in the spring for 101 and 102 for Zoom classes and for in-class meetings as well. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you for 102, I highly recommend, if you're able to take a class, in-class meeting for 102, you will get a lot more from that course from the in-class meeting versus the Zoom. I think that of all courses, to be honest with you, especially English courses,
Yeah.
there's so much more out of literary discussions being in the class and sharing your ideas and thoughts with each other about the text in an in-class session, whereas a Zoom class is very, very difficult to facilitate that kind of discussion. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, as soon as I get my schedule, I'll let you know, which should be in the next couple of weeks. I should know here soon if I'm going to be teaching 102 in class or online. All right. And my head is starting to pound. I'm getting a migraine, I think. Oh my God. All right, let me pull this up here, share my screen. Minimize this out of the way. Okay, can you all see my screen real quick?
Sir, we can. Thank you very much.
Okay. Essay number 3, which is called Proposal. Okay. This is a persuasive type essay. Again, we will talk about the context of, we're going to look at 2 things starting next week. We're going to look at 2 subjects. One is called rhetoric. Okay. How do we appeal to our readers using logic, ethics, or emotion? Okay. In the Greek terminology, that's pathos, logos, and ethos. Okay. That is at its core, at its basic, those are the basic roots of rhetoric and rhetorical writing in situations. We will look at that next week. We'll have a quick lecture about that. The other thing we're going to look at is the art of persuasion. It's extremely important that you understand there's a huge difference between persuading someone versus arguing your point with someone. Okay. One tends to utilize a different rhetorical form than the other one. And again, we have to define those terms next week before we really get into persuasion. But because this assignment, this essay number 3 is your first big boy, I want to go ahead and prepare you now and walk you through the steps of what I would do if I were approaching this assignment to prepare in a proactive way to really knock this ball out of the park. Okay. Because let me go ahead and warn, and I have students who do this, and I know you do, because I did the same thing as an undergraduate and as a graduate. I would wait till the last minute, preferably the last couple of days. If I had a month to do a paper, I would wait until the last 2 or 3 days to even start the research and do this paper, especially if it was a shorter one. You don't want to do that with this paper. I guarantee you, I promise you, you do not want to do that. All right. Do not procrastinate. Do not wait till the last minute to prepare the research, analyze the research, understand the subtopics that you want to present in your proposal, and then draft your paper. You're going to freak out. You're going to become anxious. You're going to just absolutely lose your mind if you do that. Okay. So please heed my advice. The sooner you get started on this, the better. All right. Now, at the same time, I don't want to freak anybody out and cause nervousness or anxiety. It's not that difficult. All I'm saying is if you procrastinate or you're the type of person that tends to procrastinate, break that habit immediately, because you don't want to do that with this essay. All right, I'm going to click the essay here real quick. Essay number 3, proposal. Again, you're going to see right here, this one's worth 200 points. Okay. Doesn't seem a lot, but it really is. In the full context of the course, 200 points is roughly 2 letter grades. Okay. 20% of your grade, your overall final grade, is tied up in this paper. So that's why I'm saying you do not want to procrastinate. You spend your time wisely over the next 4 weeks. You're going to have more than enough time. I promise you, more than enough time to conduct the research, draft your paper, refine it, and submit it. Okay? All right. View the assessment. Now, again, this is a proposal. Okay? I'm going to download this requirements document. And again, I highly recommend you guys do this. Download it, save it on your computer, print it out. Keep it right there on your desk in front of you, because it's going to remind you of key things that you need to consider in order to do your best on this paper. Okay. Now, a little caveat. This assignment is standardized across the college. Every student who's taking 102 is doing the same assignment for essay number 3. This is not unique to anyone taking my class. The other professors are using this as a standardized essay. Okay. Now, I did change something in here, and I'll reference that here in a few minutes, and I'll explain the reasoning behind it. But let me get through this other stuff first. All right. Again, the length of the paper, we're increasing the word count because we're increasing the complexity. So we're increasing the word count, minimum 800 words. Okay. Your last essay was 650. Now we're going to increase that a little bit to 800 words. All right. That doesn't include the works cited page either. The works cited page is not included in the word count. That's just a reference page, a bibliography at the end of your essay. So the body of the intro, the body, and the conclusion must come at least 800 words for this assignment. And again, we're using MLA. So make sure your paper has a works cited page. Make sure if you're presenting outside research that you are citing exactly within the paragraph what information you're using and from whom you are borrowing that information. Okay. All right. Number of sources. We're going to double it for a minimum of 4. Okay. For a complex topic like this, it's a minimum of 4. As I've told my students in the night classes, I do recommend you consider at least double whatever the minimum is. Okay. Consider it for this assignment, consider at least 8 sources. I'm not saying you have to use all 8, but at least have a pool of 8. And if you need to trim it down, that's fine. You can trim it down up to 4. But as we all know, the more, if we're trying to solve a problem, the more people that you involve in a committee to solve a problem generates more ideas, right? You generate more diversity of thought and providing solutions or recommended solutions to a problem. The same thing is true of your paper. The more outside opinions you bring into the paper to support your position, even argue against it, increases the validity and the integrity of what you're writing. Okay? So do yourself a favor and include as many outside sources, research as many as you can in order to get a full understanding of whatever topic you're going to write about. Okay. Minimum of 4, at least 2 of them must be from the databases. That's the library database. The other 2 or more can be open web. All right. In other words, you're finding outside information using Google or Bing or whatnot, but at least 2 must come from that database. Okay. All right. And again, your sources may be print, books, magazine, journals. Again, I consider ebooks to be a print version because it's an exact duplication of that print, that PDF, that ebook, whatever you're downloading from Apple's bookstore or Google bookstore. That is an exact duplication of what you could get in print. So that's a quality print source. Interviews, field research, surveys, if you're conducting surveys to provide information on this topic, or interviews. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Those are valid. DVDs, TED Talks. Again, you can use videos, information you're getting from videos, from YouTube or TED Talks. As long as it's academic, you can use that. Okay. And again, articles from the library, the database is 2 required. Again, this paper counts for 200 points. That is roughly 20% of your grade. You don't want to bomb out and procrastinate on this paper, because this can be the difference between you getting an A in the class or a C. If you bomb the paper, that can knock your letter grade back too. All right. It can be the difference between an A and a C. All right. So what is the topic for this paper? It's basically this: you need to answer your research question. Okay, you need to develop a research question, a problem that you want to propose a solution for, and be able to answer that within the paper. Okay, and remember, a true research question asks about something that you don't already know the answer to. Don't write about something that's a problem that's already been solved. Okay. Your question can be, how can the problem of blank be solved? And again, the answer to that question is going to be your thesis statement. You're not going to understand the true context and specificity of that thesis statement until you conduct some research and find solutions to the problem. Okay. Now, I immediately got a question the other night in the night class, and I'm sure you all have the same question here. Mr. Davis, what constitutes a problem and what are you talking about? Okay. Give you a great example, because I've created one on the fly when I was in Crestview the other night. I'm teaching the night classes for 101 in Crestview, and it took me about almost an hour to get there because of the traffic. That is a major problem. If anybody here live in Crestview? Okay.
Sadly, yes.
Huh?
Sadly.
Okay. Yeah. So anybody who lives in Baker, anybody who lives in Crestview, anybody who lives in Laurel Hill, Auburn, not Auburn, Alabama, but Auburn, Florida, if you have to go north on 85, you better leave earlier in the day if you want to get anywhere, because it's going to be absolute chaos. Do I have a question?
Sir, I live in Crestview.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. It is an absolute nightmare between the hours of 4 and 6:30 p.m., sometimes 7 p.m. up in Crestview. I'm praying for you all. I don't know how you deal with it. It's an absolute chaos up there during the evening. But anyway, as I proposed to them, hey, your topic could be the traffic chaos up here in Crestview. What are we going to do to solve this problem? What are we going to do to allow people who work in Eglin, or maybe going to school down here at Northwest Florida State College, who have to get back home during this rush hour traffic? What are we going to do to ease the burden on them, to ease the frustration and anxiety and anger that a lot of people feel when they're trying to get home every day between Monday and Friday, getting home to Crestview? Okay. So there's a possible topic for those of you who live in Crestview. You can research this topic. Okay. Now, how do you go about researching this topic? Well, again, you can look at print sources. books, magazines, journal articles, newspaper articles. You can research other municipalities around the state of Florida that had similar traffic issues, because every municipality that's growing has to solve this problem at one time or another. And you can do a little research into what did those cities, what did those towns, municipalities, what did they do as far as solving the problem of their traffic crises. Okay, that can be proposed solutions that you can bring to the discussion to solve or provide a solution for the traffic crisis in Crestview. All right, another example, an interview. You could, and I know this because I used to live in Crestview, and the mayor of Crestview goes to, or when we attended that church, he went to my church, and I think he still is a lector at that church. You could interview the mayor of Crestview and say, Mr. Mayor, as a concerned citizen of Crestview, I want to know what are you and your administration doing to solve the traffic situation, the crisis here in Crestview? With whom have you met? Have you met with the county? Have you met with the state? Have you met with Eglin Air Force Base, who takes up over 60 to 70% of the county anyway, with the reservation? What local leaders and state leaders have you met with in order to research solutions to this problem? What do you propose as a solution to this problem? You can also do field research in the form of creating a survey. And if you have some friends or family members who live on the north side of town, and unfortunately, if you live on the north side of town, it's a bigger headache for you up there than if you live on, say, Antioch Road or Live Oak Road on the south side. You can do some surveys there and hand them out and say, hey, what is the problem for you? How long does it take for you to get home every day during this rush hour traffic? What solutions would you propose in order to ease the traffic congestion through Crestview? Okay. Again, there's various sources out there that you can tap into to gather this data to identify different solutions for that problem. Okay. Let me expand here. So are you following along with me so far? Okay. All right. So let's look at the little proposed outline right here. Basically, you will be choosing a problem that is solvable. And yes, as aggravating as it is, even that crisis situation up there in Crestview every day, that can be solved too. It may be a hard problem to solve, but it's one that can be solved. So how are you going to structure this paper? The first thing you're going to do is outline the problem at the beginning of the paper, establish that it is a problem, and give some exposition to the nature of the problem. In other words, you're going to give a lot of background information about what the problem is. For example, in Crestview, really talk about the traffic congestion, when does it occur, who does it impact, etc. All right, you're just going to give a bunch of background information on that. Then you're going to actually propose a solution or a group of solutions. Okay, now for a paper of this scope, I advise you to at least identify at least 2 solutions, okay? 2 possible solutions to the problem, because what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of those solutions and you're going to persuade your readers, or reader in this case, me, you're going to persuade me that solution that you're espousing, backing up, is the correct one, okay? Based on empirical evidence that you've accumulated in your research, okay? In addition, anticipate objections to your solutions. In other words, understand the weak points of your solution and be ready to provide answers to those objections. What would you do to strengthen the weaknesses that are present in your solution? Okay. Not all solutions are going to be optimal and ideal. There's going to be some weaknesses to even one that is most ideal. You're going to have some solutions there. You got to be able to provide some information on what you think should be done to strengthen those weaknesses and make that the most optimal solution available. Okay. Let me back up here real quick. As you can see right here, I struck through a section. And let me speak to you all here. Hopefully, for those of you who can come on camera, please do so if you can. I want to address this section right here, which was proposed by other classes or other professors. It states here that no religion topics, please, as they are questions of faith. In other words, no essays on abortion. Now, I do not agree with that, and I'll give you the reason why I do not agree with that. I'm not here to push religion on anybody, and I don't expect anybody to push religion on me. But those people who have topics that they wish to write about, and they have religious viewpoints that can provide solutions to those problems, I'm sorry, I think those proposed solutions are just as valid as ones that are agnostic or secular. Okay, that's my own personal opinion. Again, the disclaimer is I'm not here to push religion on anyone. I'm not here to push spirituality on anyone. But at the same time, I am not here to deny your right to express your opinions and your thoughts and your beliefs as ideas to solve problems. Okay. So I just want to make sure that that's clear to everyone. And abortion topics, I understand that they're controversial, but many people look at those controversies as problems, and they want to express their opinions on them. And again, in the interest of fairness, I am going to allow each and every one of you to choose a topic of your own choosing, even if it's one that's controversial. I am a big boy. I'm a tough guy. You're not going to offend me. In fact, I believe one of the problems that we have in this country right now is people are so emotional. People are so prone to react negatively. Instead of hearing other people out and hearing their viewpoints, we're quick to, oh, I don't disagree with you, so I'm walking out the door, or I'm taking my ball and I'm going the hell home. That's why we're in the situation we're in right now, because we can't sit down as adults and discuss issues freely with one another with mutual respect. So I am not going to infringe upon your right to choose any topic that you wish to write about, in any problem that you wish to write and explore solutions to, regardless of its context or regardless of its controversial nature. I am the only one that's going to read your paper anyway, and I guarantee you I'm not going to be offended by anything you write. So I'm off my soapbox now, so I hope you all agree with me. If you don't, again, you don't have to take the offer. You can pick one of these topics that we're going to be looking at here in a few minutes. It's totally up to you, but I just wanted to put that offer out there, and I do not agree with this statement at all. I'm sorry, I just don't. And if that's not good enough, well, then they can find a new teacher. All right. So, topic examples. Now, these are some recommended problems with possible solutions, and they're ones that you can explore. Or again, you can come up with your own topic, but these are some topics that have been recommended by the faculty for consideration for this proposal. Okay, number one, concussion. Yes.
What does PTSD mean?
I'll explain that in just a second.
Okay.
First topic up for consideration is concussions in sports, especially football and soccer. I think I've mentioned before, I played high school ball. I've had concussions before. It's probably one of the reasons why I'm hot-headed now. That is a major issue, and it's a health issue, and it's a family issue. It's one that we do need to explore. We do need to find ways to make the game safer. And there's a lot of different solutions out there. So if you have an athletic background or an athletic affinity, if you want to write make the topic of your paper something about sports injuries or concussions, definitely consider that. Athletes behaving badly, I don't know why everybody tends to hone in on. It's like athletes are the only ones who act poorly, really. Come on, whatever. I take that one a little personal. Whatever. Athletes at Division I schools not being paid. There's a lot of talk about that right now. Should athletes at major universities like Alabama, Auburn, Clemson, these guys are making a lot of money for the schools, millions and millions and millions of dollars every year for these universities. And a lot of these guys are having to go through school and having a hard time paying their own bills, and their families are having a hard time paying bills. So there's a lot of discussions right now. Should athletes at these major universities be paid? That's a great topic. That's one that I would very much like to research myself. The slow pace of baseball. Yeah, baseball is a sport that feels like it drags on forever. And you could go to sleep and then wake up and it still not be the end of the game. What could we do to speed up the game of baseball? It is America's pastime. I'm sure there's a lot of suggestions, a lot of solutions out there that could help speed up the game. Sleep deprivation. I'm sure you guys are like me and don't get enough hours of sleep every night. There's a lot of health benefits to getting adequate amounts of sleep every night. And there's a lot of damage that can be done to your health by being sleep deprived. So what can we do to encourage people and facilitate healthy sleep patterns and behaviors for people? Again, you can go down a huge rabbit hole with that, but if you decide to write on that topic and you need some help narrowing it down, I'll be here to help you with that. High cost of prescription drugs, absolutely. That's a great topic. That's a problem here. PTSD, Mr. Marcelino asked what that is. That is post-traumatic stress disorder. That is a condition that usually happens when someone is in a stressful situation or a chaotic situation, or one where a lot of bad things. I'm just going to leave it at that. There are a lot of bad things about that. PTSD is a topic that's being discussed now in DOD and in the military. It's a huge problem for a lot of vets that are returning. A lot more needs to be done to support those veterans coming back, especially combat vets who've experienced catastrophic situations and as a result, they've developed PTSD. I would love to see some people write a paper on this topic, because it's one that's close to me. I've had friends that and have friends now that suffer with that. And I think it's an issue that's not getting enough attention. Sexting, I don't know what to say about that. Yes, sir.
Sir, for our prison system, you have accidentally replaced the word many with may instead.
Yeah, again, this is coming from the college, so get on to them, Mr. Marcelino. I didn't write this document. This is coming straight from them. But yeah, that is definitely a mistake. Prison system, yep, there's too many people are incarcerated for minor offenses. I agree with that. It's almost like the prisons are set up to be cash cows in a certain way. Is there something we can do to help people that are have nonviolent offenses still pay their debt to society without being incarcerated for a lengthy amount of time? Is there a better rehabilitation process? There's a lot of data, a lot of information out there that you can research on that. Fast fashion, I have no idea. Nobody in the night classes knew what fast fashion is. I've never heard of that before. If anybody here has heard of that term, please enlighten me, because I have no clue. I'm not a fashionista, so I don't know anything about fashion. Binge drinking on college campuses. I can tell you right now that is a problem, but it's not one that's going to be solved anytime soon because alcohol and colleges go hand in hand, it seems. But yeah, there are some solutions that we can propose out there to allow college students to be healthy or to have fun, but also do it in a more healthy way. Obsession with body image. That's a great topic. Divorce. High cost of college, definitely. I mean, it seems like college tuition is going up astronomically every year. I'm sure there's a lot of solutions that you can research to help people afford college. Excessive testing in high school. How many high school students do I have on here right now?
Here.
Give me a thumbs up. Do you feel like you're the victim of excessive testing in high school?
Not really.
Really? You're the first high school student that's told me that. Oh yeah, I'm getting some other thumbs up. Yep. So yeah, standardized testing. There are testing alternatives out there. You could probably look at differences in educational philosophies to help people learn in different ways and evaluate the way people are learning. There's different methods out there for consideration, not just standardized multiple choice tests. Deforestation. I'm going to include environmental and climate change into this category as well. So anything climate or environment based, if you see that there's a problem that you care about and that you're very passionate about, there's a wide open door there for a topic in that category. Elimination of net neutrality. I was educated on this the other night, and I had no idea that net neutrality is no longer a thing, that corporations who provide internet access to people, if they receive kickbacks from other companies, can actually regulate the bandwidth and traffic that subscribers to those services can experience. In other words, if an ISP has a kickback deal from a competing company, your Netflix bandwidth could go down drastically, and there's nothing the government can do about it right now. I did not know that was a huge issue. So definitely look into that. If you're an internet-based enthusiast, you love the internet, you love the idea of a free internet, there's a topic for you right there. Internet shaming and trolls. This could be a huge topic. It's a shame that it is a topic of concern, but that's definitely one that you can consider. Puppy mills. I have no idea what a puppy mill is. Oh wait, let's see. Miss Irk, thank you. I could be wrong, but I believe that fashion is an issue that has to do with stores. Really cheap products. Okay, so this is related to the sweatshops overseas, using illegal labor and stuff like that. Possibly. I may be way off on that. Nope. Yep. That's okay. So yeah, definitely. Apple has been accused of that. I would branch that out. I would make it more economic. Is it right for companies here in the United States who have to adhere to employment standards? Is it right for those companies to take advantage of countries that do not have those same human rights policies? I would kind of branch it out into that group. Puppy mills are mills that breed puppies for money. Okay, so that's something similar. Puppy factories. I've never heard that term. Thank you. You guys are teaching me stuff tonight. I love that. Litter. Absolutely. Anybody, I lived in Destin for a long time, saw it on a daily basis. Tourists coming down here, destroying our beaches with all kinds of trash and rubbish. That's a huge, huge problem for Okaloosa County. And recycling, the elimination of recycling. I I didn't know that recycling was going away. I thought that was a program that was still being promoted across the country. So, yeah, if recycling is your thing and you don't think we're doing enough to recycle and protect the environment, then that's definitely a topic that you can consider. Okay, so again, we will revisit this document. I just wanted to go ahead and introduce it to you all and give you an opportunity to start thinking about it, okay? Because this is a major paper. Again, I'm not trying to cause stress and anxiety, not trying to freak you out. I'm just trying to give you enough lead time to where you can follow the process, right? Selecting a topic, researching that topic, following those 5 steps of the research process that I've presented to you all, and then that doing so in a way that you allow yourself enough time to really execute each phase properly and effectively. Okay. In other words, use good time management skills to plan your course of action. Okay. So my plan is by the time we come back next week, I'm going to go, when I go down the roll, I'm going to ask each and every one of you, do you have an idea for a topic for essay number 3? You don't have to share it, but I at least want you to have a topic in mind, okay? For those of you who do not have a topic, I want to help you identify a topic ASAP, okay? In other words, let's don't procrastinate. Let's have a topic in mind that you can research no later than the 22nd of October, which is next Thursday, okay? Because again, you look at this, where'd it go? You look at the assignment. This thing's going to be due the 15th of November, okay? So you want to maximize the time. You want to have a topic in mind as soon as you can, so you go ahead and start the research process. Okay. All right. We've covered a lot of stuff tonight, and I know I've thrown a lot at you, and I apologize for if I have overwhelmed you, but I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware of the ramifications for this next essay. So I wanted to make sure I went over it in detail. After we talk about our topics next week, I'll revisit it. Okay, I'm going to revisit that document every week to make sure that everybody is up to speed on what we're trying to do with essay number 3. Okay, now between now and Sunday, again, if you need a little advice, you need a little mentoring on essay number 2, again, email me your questions. Okay. You have questions about the content, questions about the format, questions about the MLA process of documenting outside sources, please send me your questions via email. I'll make myself available to mentor you and tutor you as best I can. I want to make sure that you understand how these principles work, okay? Because it's going to be extremely important for you to do well on essay number 3. All right? All right. Does anybody have any questions, any final thoughts, any concerns before we log off? Nobody? Okay. All right. Again, my email is open. Let me know if you need anything. And I look forward to reading essay number 2. And I hope you all have a blessed and wonderful weekend. And I'll see you next Thursday night.
Okay then, sir. See you next Thursday night as well. Good night. Have a good weekend, sir.
All right. Good night. Thank you all.
Have a good night.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hello?